it's not always easy. I mean, we were heated this morning before the conversation even started because there's so much crap going on in the company right now today. It's always the same response. A lot of ums and he's interested in this and he has no clue what he's going for. Yeah. He has no clue what he's doing. He's a kid. There's also a local high school that we're hiring out of here as well. That the people there are very passionate about learning the trades, teaching the trades, in the high school years already as well. So what I think what people miss a lot is that, I'm just going to be, a dirty welder, I'm going to be a plumber, I'm going to be and that's a nasty job. We have Nate Baum, who just got promoted 2 weeks ago, who started as a welder 6 or 7 years ago and is now in charge of all the welding fabrication now across 2 plants. As you grow a company, you realize that your actual value is not in how many Milwaukee impactors you have. Yeah. It's about your ability to retain employees. We're short at least 500,000 roles in the trades currently. So 500,000 to 650,000 is the highest rate of unfulfilled trade jobs in the U.S. The gap is going to even widen as we get into the 2030s. It's a problem. Well, good morning, everybody. We're back at the Forge this morning and talking about a lot of things this morning that we're very passionate about. Full disclosure, the pressure is high. Things are absolutely crazy at PWI currently, and the amount of orders and sales coming in is absolutely overwhelming. So it's a blessing. And yet it's a challenge, and so we're going to dive into the trades this morning and how we developed a passion for the trades. And so, pausing what we're doing every day. And again, us 3 brothers are in the business all day, every day, doing our things, doing our daily roles, and also putting our owners' hats on and our in these meetings, these times, this podcast here today, and talking about things that really matter for the company. And so, Darren, just remind everybody what you do in the business. I'm the CEO, president, CEO. What do you do in the business again?
Engineering. So I'm VP of engineering. So I'm in charge of, all the engineering. So, like I said, I have around a 20-man team, a 20-man engineering team. Some of them work remote. Some of them work. Most of them work at PWI. But I'm in charge of. But I have a guy, Leighton Yoder, who's in charge of the entire department.
The director of engineering that works directly below you.
Yeah, I only have one report. He reports to me. He's the only one reports to me. So I spend my time primarily on supposed to be on new, inventing the future, new products,
new product development.
But it's depending on the complexity of a job. If it's not necessarily a new job, but it's just a complex, big job, I'll kind of kick it off until it's more figured out, and then hand it down.
Yeah, that makes sense. Kyle, what is your role again?
Yeah, I'm VP of sales, and I got about a 25-man team, somewhere in that range, and we just take project management and sales very seriously. We are no commission sales. We just have a great group of guys that are probably focusing about 75% of their time on project managing
and girls
and
one girl.
Yes,
one
sorry,
lady.
yes. Sorry, I didn't mean to call Michelle like that. She's great, sales admin, so yeah, they did a great job around the PWI managing the flow of projects and checking in on things here and there, and then communicating with all customers. And so we like to have sales and project management as one person. So there's one point of contact from the first contact all the way till the sales is finished. So.
Thank you. I thought that perspective was good. We haven't always been in these roles, and I think that's the goal. I think we have a lot of listeners that are listening to us today that are still, 5-10-man shops, and which is very, very common. I mean, there's thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of small businesses, small family businesses like we started, and the guys were excited about the trades. The owner, the founder was excited about working in the trades, and what happens is it changes. The roles change as you grow. And if you're not willing to do that, you probably aren't going to grow. If you're the one that's turning the wrenches on the cars, if you're the one that's welding, if you're the one who's doing the mechanical and pipe fitting in your company, you probably aren't going to grow. So Darren and Kyle and I have had to delegate and grow as leaders, or we are the lid to the business, of course. But so what are the trades? We talking about today about what we're passionate about in the trades. But first of all, like, what are they? Mentioning a couple things that are come to my mind is electricians, plumbers, pipe fitters, HVAC guys, iron workers, welders, machinists, millwrights, boiler makers, and then also going into like manufacturing and industrial stuff is also the trades, because those, there's welders and pipe fitters in that trade as well, and those really have become our customer base. Is that right, guys? So that's really who we work for every day. We work alongside the trades, and we're working for the trades as manufacturers, building something with their hands. Is that fair?
Yeah, it's predominantly manufacturers. I mean, we're probably selling, the end user of who we're selling to is 90% of the time is going to be a manufacturer.
Okay.
Even if it's sold through a general contractor or a dealer, primarily it's going to be to a manufacturer in the end.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
A lot of our a lot of stair zone sales varies quite a bit. It goes to manufacturers too, but it goes to a variety of.
But again, construction and building is also the trades. That's who we're working with or alongside. Braxton, take me to the next staff there we have here. I had Braxton pull this up for me, but we have Braxton's our producer, by the way. Hi, Braxton. Good morning to you.
Hey, Jamie, pull that up.
Are the trades a big deal? Are the trades a big deal? And so they're a really big deal. If you include industrial manufacturing, the Bureau of Labor says there's about 20 million people working in the trades across the U.S. Do you guys believe those numbers? Does 20 million sound right to you guys?
I have no clue.
Kyle, you're a stat guy.
I think there's about 120 million people that are working in the U.S.
Yeah.
140, 50. I can't remember what the number is.
Yeah.
Somewhere in that range. So that'd seem about right.
So the numbers that I was given was about 20 million people working the trades, which means that's the people we're hiring, and we're talking trillions of dollars a year in annual economic activity in the U.S. So when people say, the real jobs are over here, Mike Rowe talks a lot about the trades. I love what Mike Rowe's doing for our industry. Love what he's talking about, and there's many others that are doing that as well. But Mike Rowe is talking about dirty jobs, and he's encouraging people to get out of high school and get a quick maybe a 1-year degree specifically on the trade that they want to go into. And I love
trade
that.
School, yeah.
Trade school. There's local schools here that you can do if you want to be a pipe fitter or a welder, and we love that. There's also a local high school that we're hiring out of here as well. That the people there are very passionate about learning the trades and teaching the trades, in the high school years already as well. So it's a really big deal. We're talking trillions of dollars a year in annual economic activity around the trades, and it's a problem, right? Like, we're trying to hire people right now. One of the things that's got Darren and Kyle and I heated this morning is the fact that we're trying to hire. We need to hire at a much faster rate. We just crossed the 200 employee mark last week as a company, and we're trying to get to 225, 230, 240 team members, and that's a really, really big deal. So. Another stat that's coming out here is that we're short at least $500,000 roles in the trades currently. So 500,000 to 650,000 is the highest rate of unfulfilled trade jobs in the U.S. The gap is going to even widen as we get into the 2030s. It's a problem. So we have aging workforce. We have decades of pushing. Here's what we'll get really passionate about, okay? We have decades of pushing young people towards 4-year degrees instead of vocational paths. And that's what's killing us. That's the reason why. And so these kids are graduating many times and are unable to find a job for what does Dave Ramsey always say, for left-handed puppetry or something like that. There's nothing like that. And so they get done with their career and they go like, oh shucks, well, I guess McDonald's or Burger King is hiring, and that's a problem. So talk a little bit about what we went through as brothers. We are all three high school dropouts. We talked about that in our episode last week. You're right or wrong or indifferent, doesn't really matter. It's what we chose to do. Our dad was very passionate about the trades, and we decided, we saw this opportunity as brothers in different eras there. I mean, I'm 12 years older than Kyle, but our dad gave us an opportunity to work in the trades, in a welding and fabrication industrial space.
I think you should mention as well, Ryan, that both of our parents really wanted us to go through college earlier on. Maybe when they started. That's what Dad told me. That a couple.
You never told me that.
He didn't want you to go to college, I guess. So, but basically said that, hey, we want everybody to graduate in our family. We want everybody to go through 4-year college. But they had a couple friends that earlier on, like when they had like Ryan and Valinda, our oldest sister, that had kind of gone through a bad experience with higher education, and it kind of changed their mindset. Is what Dad told me about how they thought about higher education. And they went from like, we're all going to get 4-year degrees to dropping out of high school. Kind of a weird shift. But.
Yeah. And we were weirdos among our peers to do that. I was the only one in multiple grades before, ahead of me and behind me that I know of that dropped out to do dropped out at all, honestly.
Yeah.
And so
I'm not
so
yeah, I'm not saying that. I'm not sitting here saying that promoting dropping out of high school at all. That's not my opinion today. I don't think it's necessarily the way or you should. I don't think it's bad to finish high school. That would be kind of a foolish thing to say, I think. But it worked for our situation, for our family. It made sense.
Yeah.
And in hindsight, I'm thankful for it. But it's not like it's a clear, hey, kids. It's
not at all what we're saying.
Not at all. I finished high school, but it's just I talked to so many college educated kids as they're going into college. I just recently talked to someone else and asked them, hey, what they're doing, and they're starting off and they're it was at work last week. I was talking to one of the ladies there, and their son he's going to college, and so I asked her the classic, well, what's he going for? And it's always the same response. Well, he's really interested in he really likes a lot of and he's interested in this, and he has no clue what he's going for.
Yeah.
He has no clue what he's doing. He's a kid.
Yeah.
He's a 17-and-a-half-year-old kid that doesn't know, just like me when I was 17-and-a-half, didn't know what I wanted to do, whatever. And so then they started off this path, and then they get in year 1, year 2, and then they really had to figure out what their path is at that point in the college thing. And so they pick one, and like sometimes people like it, some people just don't. And it's to me it's a gamble on a 4 years of time, which is a huge deal.
Which it could be $100,000, it could be $150,000, it could be $50,000 total of the 4 years. But there's the big spread of some of them get a half ride or a full ride. I get that. Mm-hmm. So just to so we're not promoting. It's just reiterating what Darren's saying. We're not promoting dropping out of high school. That's not what we're saying at all. Even though we did, it was the right path for us 2 decades ago and all that. It's great. And honestly, maybe we were lucky. We were blessed by God that God blessed our efforts of jumping into the business. And our parents both died young of cancer, as we mentioned in a previous podcast episode. But so we're in it. We're all in it. We're all in. But I will say that, third generation now coming into the business, my 2 sons, my oldest son is 20 and is in the business, working in the business, and is actually welding and building one now, fabricating structural, columns, mezzanines, cranes, things like that. So, and my second son also is going to finish high school at the end of next year. He's 1 year away until he'll be coming into the business as well, getting a job there. Probably should send them somewhere else to work for 3 or 4 years, but they're passionate about what we're doing. I think our passion for the trades is helping, the third generation be into it. If we were kind of like, whatever, it wouldn't work. But Dawson and Brock are both very excited about coming into the business, and I think your kids probably will as well as they get there. Your kids are all a lot younger than mine.
Peyton, my daughter, she started cleaning this summer. She's going to clean. She's 13. So she's
in the trades as well. Huh?
She's really excited about that.
That's great.
I wanted to just say, there's a lot of things you can talk about when it comes to working the trades and maybe going and getting some kind of what do you call it, the trade schools type things,
Mm-hmm.
But generally speaking, I don't think we were all told this lie. At least my generation was 10 years ago, that jobs are going away, and if you want to get to a high paying job, you got to learn to code. Learn to code was a very, very common phrase thrown out online and in person. All that stuff, you're gonna have to learn how to code. And with AI coming out right now, and I'm a big fan of Claude AI and ChatGPT. I feel like is kind of the ugly stepchild already, but it is. And they're kind of trying to get an IPO out until as quick as they can, I believe, because they know
because their valuation's going down.
Anthropic with Claude is going to also have an IPO probably within a year.
Wow.
And it's kind of a race to become public.
And then you got
first.
XAI too.
And anyway, all that to say is that Claude, learning to code has actually it's a lie.
It's went the other direction.
People that are coding
Yeah.
are going to have to learn how to do something else because coding just became so much easier. And
Kyle, when do you think that changed? Like what do you think that shifted? I mean, we start at PWI. We started using AI 6 months ago heavily. I mean, not more than 6 months ago.
Yeah.
So I'm asking like, does this actually a change? I mean, did anybody see this coming at this level 3 years ago?
no one thought it was going to be maybe as big as it is now, but people definitely people like Elon Musk and that kind of stuff. We're calling this out, 3-4 years ago easily. But I will say though that it's not like, if you're a coder, your job is gone either. It's not like that, but if you're a low level coder and if you went to school for 4 years to learn how to code and then you're trying to get into a job somewhere right now, good luck. Good luck.
I heard
and because there's so much competition now, and if you know how to use AI well, you're going to be running circles around whatever you were taught in those classes because it's really how it is.
Yeah.
And it's almost like like if you were going to go study to be I don't even know a guy that can interpret encyclopedias and then the internet comes out.
Yeah.
It's like, come on,
In the 90s, you're saying, yeah.
I heard Jeff Bezos just interview just like a week or two ago. He was at Blue Origin and did an interview with some news organization. Anyhow, they were asking about AI and stuff, and he the way he described it was, he said he doesn't think, and I remember all these people's opinions, they're just opinions. I mean, they could be right or wrong, but his opinion was that not every AI is not coming to steal all the jobs, but he said that imagine you're a coding guy and you're building software, designing software, and it's a guy. He said his analogy was it's a guy digging a basement with a shovel. So he's digging along, he's digging the shovel. It might take him 6 months to dig his basement with a shovel. Sure. For the house you're trying to build. He said AI is like giving that guy a bulldozer, and I wanted to correct him. It actually be an excavator that would dig it. But
tell how much
Come on, Bezos.
but
he had. I did watch him drive a payloader one time when they broke ground on their huge air hub like 8 years ago. He came in with a payloader and dumped it.
So even Jeff Bezos is in the trades, is what we're saying.
So it was cool because so I'm saying that that's what we're finding out too is that AI is just empowers you like 100x.
Yeah. We're gonna do a whole. It's on my list. We're gonna do one episode on AI and how we're using it in the trades, in manufacturing, in industrial work like we're doing because it's already been absolutely life changing for us, right?
So one thing on the trades thing I forgot to mention is I was talking to a friend of mine who owns an HVAC company here recently. I was talking to him, and he was talking about hiring, and they're really busy, and they're from South Carolina anyhow, and I was blown away by what his salary, what he was offering people, and he was fighting for this one guy, and
As a service, tell me what role you're as a service technician.
HVAC manager. I mean,
Okay.
not just a tech, next level up.
Sure.
I mean, I think he was telling me it was he was bidding between $130,000 a year, and I was just like, are you kidding me?
So what often happens, let's just hit that for a minute. So what I think what people miss a lot is that, I'm just going to be, a dirty welder, or I'm going to be a plumber, I'm going to be and that's a nasty job. The truth is there's often, this is also about leadership here. And so as well. So we've seen people in the trades at PWI, starting running a saw, becoming a certified welder, whatever that is, and going up in the ranks. We have Nate Baum, who just got promoted 2 weeks ago, who started as a welder 6 or 7 years ago, and is now in charge of all the welding fabrication now across 2 plants, and pretty incredible. Have the trades been good for him? Absolutely. Nate's making good money today and doing a great job. So we've tried really hard to promote from within. A lot of the kids that got hired a decade ago, 15 years ago, we have some, almost 20-year veterans there now that are approaching 20 years that started there welding and are now leading, entire divisions of our company in the trades, right? So there's massive opportunity, like Darren's saying, in growing and getting paid really, really well.
I think there's also a thing, Ryan, that people have this, misconception that when you start off as bottom end of the totem pole, so to speak, and you're doing a dirty job, you're doing something hard like that. That's what you will be forever. There is I'm just repeating what you said, but basically, I feel like people don't understand that if you're part of a growing company, it's a lot different. If you're a company that's 20 people, 20 person company, and most of the guys that have been there for 12, 14 years, and they haven't changed their company size in 10 to 15 years, you probably aren't going to change your job. But if you're a company that's been growing quickly and is scaling this way and that way, you're going to find out that if you stick around and the company keeps on growing, you're going to have some serious opportunities, most likely, if you're a good guy.
Love it. And perhaps even, I mean, you can throw this out there, perhaps the very thing that you wanted to go to college for, or that you wanted to, manufacturing leadership, or whatever you wanted to do, or you wanted to get, an MBA in something, whatever it might be, you could be using those very, very skills in leading in the trades, if it's HVAC, like Darren mentioned, if it is in the welding fabrication business, like we're doing, and industrial solutions, like we're offering to our customers, or we go into all of our customers' locations all the time, every week, and we're seeing they're trying to hire people as well. They're in the exact same mode that we're in, trying to hire people. That's why we're so busy, because they're all busy, right? So we're manufacturers serving manufacturers truly.
And we're also, Ryan, be careful, we're speaking to everybody around the country that we know this is localized to what we're talking about, and a few of our specific trades we're talking about, or friends of ours, that kind of thing. But it might not be the same way everywhere. It's not like, we're not trying to say that, but it is crazy how often we hear how jobs are going to be taken away, and this is bad, or here this is better, and then you try to actually hire, and you can't hire anybody.
Right.
It's weird.
Like, what is truth?
Our local economy is supposed to be
there.
down right now, with RV and modular home, manufacturing, and you still can't hire people. It feels like, even for fair wages and that kind of thing, because there's still demand. There's still a lot more demand than what people say there is.
Yeah, it's fair.
But I want to be careful too. I mean, I would say close to half of my team has a college degree, and I have some really, really good guys that have been through college too. So I just want to say that too as a disclaimer. Obviously, we have. I am saying college does not define who you are. I always
That's
say
good,
when I hire somebody, I hire you on your ability to learn. How fast can you learn? Are you a dry sponge, or are you a wet sponge? Right. So I mean, can you? What
does that mean? What does that mean?
Can you soak up information or not?
Sure.
A dry sponge just soaks everything up. He's observing.
Is that one of Darren's new lines?
I was gonna say.
Is that one of Darren's new? Darren, what's the other line? Doers do, others don't. Is that
doers do, others talk?
Darren wants to be famous for something that would be doers do, others talk.
We found out.
I have a whole PowerPoint of my own
quotes.
Yeah.
Quotes.
Along his humility quotes, right?
It's gonna be a short book, but it's gonna be worth reading.
But then I found out that Darren's is what was it? Doers do, others talk. Is that your quote? He basically 100% stole it from Walt Disney.
Sure.
If you look up Walt Disney's quote,
Darren steals everything.
He's just plagiarizing. So
Look, Darren's right though. We're not.
I missed that first part. What'd you say?
Yeah, I said you were right, and you probably stole it from somebody else, but you are right when you say that we don't. I'm very grateful for the people on our team that have a college education. I'm so glad that Dean, our CFO, knows what the heck he's doing with finances, right? So he's excited about that, right? We're not killing that. We're saying that not everybody needs to follow that path. And we actually need 500,000 more people around the U.S. to not follow that path, because that's the shortage we're in right now. And with AI and coding changes and all that we truly need people to join the trades, as Mike Rowe's been preaching for a decade or more.
Mm-hmm. So one of my guys, Noah Diaz, he's an engineer in our office, and he's a great guy, and he went to college, and he was 2 years into college when he got married. Then he applied here, and we got hired here. So he kind of stopped his college. He did stop then going to college, and he kind of wants to finish it eventually. And I want him to. It's great. It's fine. But I always told him, I said, I tell you, and this sounds a little arrogant, but I said, I tell you what you're worth. I tell you what your degree is worth to me, because I'm the one paying you. So if you're worth, I'm just saying it's like, and it's not like.
So instead of eyes, you could say the market says what you're worth, right?
Well, I'm the employer.
Yeah. Well, the market.
Yeah, right.
But you're,
as an employer,
Yeah.
if I say you're worth $10 an hour, because of your skill set, because your ability to learn, that's what it is. If it's worth a lot more than that, it's because of, again, your ability to learn and your effort that you show. That's my whole thing. And so it's funny because we recently hired our own PE, and I mentioned that earlier too in the previous podcast. So Noah is now in charge of basically doing all the calculations, basically assembling all the information, doing calculations, and creating all the calc spec sheets for every project, for all of our loadings, moment connections, foundations, anchor pull out, all that strength, all the Hilti Profis,
which is all based on our product line. Just to be clear, Darren. So PBI builds.
So for mezzanines,
PBI
for cranes,
builds overhead cranes, mezzanines, and fall protection, safety equipment.
So when you have a column and you have anchorage points, and is it fastening to an existing slab? Is it a new footer? So all of those, there's a lot of calculations to go into all that. It has to be all documented so a PE can review that. So recently we've been so Noah's been assembling all this information, and our Mike, our new PE, has been reviewing it, and Mike's like, this is great. I mean, it's like approved. And so I'm saying, but my point to Noah is like, Noah, you did that.
Yeah. It's good.
You did that.
It's good.
And so it's just,
Darren, you kind of skipped over that a little bit. So just to clarify, Darren's got 20 plus people on his team. And we've started by our father a decade ago. His theory, as far as his theory a decade ago, was around the fact that we don't want the liability of having our own PE on staff. We want to outsource that. So the idea that as our engineers are designing stuff every single day, that we're sending that out to a PE to get stamped, it takes the liability off of PWI and onto that firm, whoever's doing that. But just as of recently, in the last 6 weeks, Darren hired our first actual PE, and it's been a huge deal for us. Be able to stamp. The approval process for our customers has gotten a lot faster, and also just looking at our standard product line,
but just as good too.
Oh yeah.
That's the thing that so a lot of the firms we work with several different firms before we hired Mike, and I to be honest, I'm very frustrated now knowing how easy it is versus I just feel like engineering firms, and this is not just in our line of work. I talk to a lot of friends in the construction industry when it goes to architects or engineers, for site plans, for all this stuff. It's slow, it's expensive, and I've told firms very clearly. I said I'm okay with expensive, but can it at least be fast?
Yeah,
and because so the money's the money. So it costs X. That's fine. Can I have it fast? No, it's still slow. It's like they want to. It's like the most engineering firms are run like a law firm. They get billed by the hour, and they want to make sure they milk everything they can and make it seem as hard as it is. They want to make it seem so difficult. So then you're okay with the high bill. I'm like, screw that. Give me the high bill and give it fast. Yeah, and because customers
be fair, Darren. We've had a lot of frustration with engineering firms over the last 20 years, and we also have found some pretty a couple, 2 or 3 that we really have really helped us, have really forwarded, advanced our product line in a good way.
They have. I'm grateful. I'm mildly grateful for them.
Okay, all right. Thank you to our vendors out there who have served us for many, many years.
I'm not calling any of them out because I am thankful for them, but just not overly thankful.
Yeah, sure. So let's kind of dive into the trades here a bit. So
kind of I'm sorry.
So PBI goes around the country and sets up manufacturing plants, works in the construction, projects. We're doing stairways and mezzanines and cranes in construction projects all the time. We're either working alongside during the construction process, or we're going into a manufacturer that already has a building built and needs one of our products, right? So it's a big deal. So how do we fall in love with the trades? I mean, I kind of feel like, it's kind of in our blood. I think, our grandfather was a farmer, actually on both sides. My mom's dad and my dad's dad were both farmers, and so I guess that's the trades as well in some ways, working with their hands, right? So I feel like if we wouldn't have done this, if our father wouldn't have started PWI in '79, we probably would be doing something in the trades. But like, what makes you passionate about what you get to do every day in the trades? I mean, you're leading sales, but you're building stuff with your hands, and even our sales guys are technically thinking through our products and how we can make something, build something to serve that customer. What makes you passionate about what we get to do every day?
What I love doing is fixing complex problems, solving complex problems for our customers. And when something's pretty easy and standard, and just make 30 of those things, I'm kind of bored. That's just my personality.
If it's easy, anybody do it.
That's I was getting to. Thanks, Darren. But it was
Again, Darren stealing somebody else's quote, right?
Yeah,
So thanks, Darren.
I think that if you're looking to get into the trades in general, you should definitely look for a niche sector of whatever market you're looking at. And it's funny, the problem is with being in a niche, it's very, very it can be very difficult at times. And so you find the hard,
because you're not very diversified. Is that, let's hit that a bit. Because you're not very diversified. Is that why it's hard?
I'll get there. I'm just saying, no, if you see, man, there's 15 other companies that have done this, and I just want to be the 16th company doing that. That's great, but it's very hard to set yourself apart.
Yeah.
Right now, funny enough, not in the trades, but like SaaS companies, software as a service companies, are struggling with that so much right now, and they're talking about
Salesforce should be freaking out.
It's really scary because you're trying to set yourself apart from all the other companies that are doing the exact same thing. Now,
no, you're saying no. They should be
very similar.
No, they should be. There's SaaS companies should be scared of what AI is going to replace them with.
Correct. I'm not saying I'm not bringing in the AI factor. I'm just saying that there's so many that do such a similar thing.
Sure.
And so, but it's in the same way. If you're going to go out and be a mechanic, for instance, I think it's great. Go be a mechanic. There's plenty of work as a mechanic.
Yeah.
But if you can be a specialty mechanic that focuses on one difficult, annoying, maybe you'll only work on German cars,
or you work on the deaf problem in the trucks,
whatever
like
whatever
that.
the hardest part is of the industry. If you can figure out how to be good at that, you'll have other mechanic shops throwing cars your way because they don't want to mess with them.
Yeah.
And so it's the thing with it is like, it's cool. It looks easy to go do the easy things, but easy is also easily replaceable.
That's right.
And so you have to, I think, even when if you're a single, just normal guy that's trying to not even start a company, just going to go work for somebody, if you want to protect your job, it's not guaranteed at all because niches can fall in and out. But I think it's really important to specialize in things. Yeah. Don't go for this general, broad, overall thing because it's very easy to be replaced.
Sure. Yeah. Like a friend of mine told me a couple of years ago, there's riches in the niches, right? Mm-hmm. So I think we have found our little niche.
I don't know
niche. I've heard it both ways, right? So as Trevor and I
should have probably gone to college.
Yeah. So if we went to college, we probably would know which way to say that. But yeah, I think either way is correct. But I think there is profitability in laser focusing on what you do and what you're the best at in the world. The hedgehog principle from Jim Collins is what are you the best at the world at? And now what happens there though is I think people get really freaked out and concerned that they're not diversified enough. I think diversification. We've learned that diversification is about going to different markets with your niche and your niche, right? So I think a decade ago we were saying we got to diversify. The market's soft. Well, we were so focused on our local community. So for the people out there, listeners out there, they're saying, how did you guys get national? Well, it was the fact that we actually did focus on our product line and said this is what we're the best in the world at. And hey, wow, you could actually market around that. It's hard to market around a broad scope. Mm-hmm. It's really easy to market around a niche. So if somebody's saying, hey, I'm the best guy in my community that works on DEF problems on diesel trucks. Like we have we have a fleet of trucks, right? So DEF is always a problem. If there's a guy that says, I'm the DEF specialist in Northern Indiana or in Central Texas, wherever that's at, how easy is that to do Facebook Marketplace ads Facebook ads, Google ads on that? So if you're really good at building bridges, or you're really good at heating and cooling systems specifically, you're the king of heating and cooling in your area, but you don't do plumbing, whatever. What is that thing that you're good at?
Yeah.
So that's
I think
it's a
people.
big
I
deal,
think most
Kyle.
people will if you're a small business owner and you have 5, 10 employees, whatever, maybe a little smaller of a company, your natural answer to that question is going to be, well, I'm good at all these things.
Yeah.
I'm really actually good at this wide array. And it's actually like, yeah, you might be okay at it, but what about the special things that you can actually focus in on and just be really good at that? Really, really good at. What are you best at? Not just good at or pretty good at.
Well, good is the enemy of great. I mean, that's the thing. Like I should have used the word great. I said the word best, but you got to be great at these things. Good is not good enough because good doesn't separate you. Good does not get you out of the people pile.
I think two things I would say add in here is that I don't know. Sometimes I think I am not one. So basically, if you're a construction company and you're I think a lot of construction can be is fairly easy. And Dad always said, you start a construction company, any guy with a pickup truck and a skill saw can be your competition. Any one of your employees can leave and be your competition, and that happens all the time,
every day.
It's still true. But what the thing is that as you grow a company, you realize that your value, your actual value, is not in how many Milwaukee impactors you have.
Yeah.
It's about your ability to retain employees.
Yeah.
If your value isn't how many employees you have that like coming to work for you and that show up and do. So you can quote that job to frame that. Maybe it's another job, maybe it's another contractor's job, but if you can show up with 5 guys and start framing the house next week, you got the job.
Yeah.
And so that's really having and maintaining your team is a huge deal.
Well, that's
also.
okay.
Also,
So can I touch on that before we go on? Let's. I'm gonna keep this focused here. That's really, really important, and I think this is something that founders, our dad probably struggled with as well. But I think all founders and owners and CEOs, they want to maintain control. They want to be the guy that's out on the construction site framing the house themselves. They feel. I just talked to a guy last week. Actually, I don't know what it was. I was talking to Jason Chasson with Chass on Smoke. He said, I really feel stupid walking in here with a clean shirt this morning and not welding. I go back there and I feel like I'm not valuable. I walk through the shop and I watch my guys welding, and I actually feel less than a man because I'm not doing the dirty jobs anymore. And that's what. But he's seeing and he's understanding that he's got to duplicate himself, and so that's really. So talk about that a little bit more, Darren. Like how important has it been for us to step back further and further and further, not because we're too good for it, but to actually lead, to build a culture, so that there's other people framing that house, wiring that house, building, designing that crane in our case, and welding the crane.
Well,
in our case.
I tell all my managers. So I have several managers on my team, and I always tell them, it's not about not knowing how to do it. You have to be able to grab the welder and weld, and you have to be able to grab the open Inventor, open Tekla, and show them how to do it, and open AutoCAD and show them that you exactly know how to do it. Because if you can't call out details, like when we're it's really important. Like when we're modeling stuff, and we say, look. So when we're constraining, this to this and this assembly to this assembly, and watching, are we constraining to faces, or are we constraining to planes? And we talk about
Nobody
details.
knows what we're talking about. What do you refer? These are engineering terms.
Yeah, no. So when you're 3D modeling, the way you constrain a model. So when you're building something, the way you constrain a nut to a hole or a plate to the end of a beam, it's the way you're building the model.
Yeah.
And you can do it. There's sloppy ways to do it that work, but those constraints can break later depending if you change something to a face. All of a sudden, in your model, this plate might be free floating, and by chance it's moved.
Yeah.
And it's there, but it's not constrained right.
Yeah.
It's a big deal and it causes problems. So you can do sloppy work that sometimes you'll get away with.
Yeah.
The problem with that is it's not a good workflow, because the next time someone opens and uses that model to do something else, they're not aware that you didn't do your work right. And so when we're putting and seeing all that is when we're in our meetings and we're talking about our work, which is designing, I like to be able to know exactly what we're talking about. And I always, and Elon Musk says, when you're interviewing a guy, an engineer, dive all the way into one detail.
Yeah.
How did you fix this problem? How did you do it? And I like to my guys diving all the way in, because soon you can tell real quick if they're unsure of the detail.
Well, that's true. I think for across the board. I mean, even some of my leaders, you keep drilling down and you go like, well, why? Where'd you get to that point? And the theory can break apart pretty quickly.
Well, their theory can be their foundation of their decision was what one of their guys told them. And by the way, that guy's 2 weeks old.
Yeah,
He says, well, that machine sucked, or we decided this because, and like you don't even actually know. You just took someone's word for it.
One thing that I think, back to what Ryan brought up there, I've said this line. I've tried to write this out. I say I haven't. I want to write this out. I call it the foreman problem. The foreman problem is what we were talking about earlier. Is you have a 15 employee company, and the owner, the founder, the 47-year-old, the 55-year-old guy that's been really good. Everybody knows him. He's the head salesman. He's the foreman on site. He's all head of purchasing too. And then you know what he does, because he needs to have some kind of office work going on. He hires an office lady, or he hires somebody in the office, back at the office
to do the book work,
to do the book work, and just make sure they kind of cover up all the crap that he's been doing. And just fix this whole thing. And really, in reality, where he'd be best served is paying a foreman to take his job out on site, and he stays in the office, not getting dirty, is what Chas and Smoke was saying. And it's weird because it's such a paradox, because you think that you will be showing the guys how you're a good worker and you're going to be in charge of quality, and the customer's going to love that they're going to see you. But actually, what you can do behind the scenes in an office somewhere is actually going to make more customers happier longer in the long term. And it's such a weird mind shift. I think sometimes it almost takes a second generation to break that, because they think that they have to be out there.
Often it doesn't even happen.
Yeah. I mean, many times, so how many men in their 50s listening today are still in the trades every day. They're in the shop, they're doing their thing, and they're never gonna get out of it. But I remember that specifically. I remember being made fun of by our team. Ooh, Ryan, hey, pretty boy, hey, you're too good to get dirty anymore. That all happened. I mean, it all happened for me. I was the first one of us three, obviously, as the oldest brother here to get that treatment. And all of a sudden, for Kyle, it was no big deal. I mean, but somebody's got to start that, what I'm saying? And so, and we need other smart people running the business that aren't getting dirty to feed the work, to engineer, I was feed being sales coming in the door. There's nothing more sad to me than having the foreman. I mean, it's a lesson we learned the hard way, obviously. We're going to do a whole episode on sales, the importance of sales. We keep throwing that out there, and it's so important. But when that owner, founder guy is also the foreman problem, right? The foreman mindset. And he's also responsible for making it rain. So every time his phone rings, he's looking at it, hitting voicemail because he's getting ready to pound a nail in. That's a sale that was lost. And somehow he can't see it. He can't see the importance of that. Is way more important than keeping this going. But it's often because it's a lack of delegation. They're not willing to hire and pay that guy $37 or $45 an hour to be the foreman on the job site and frame that house, to build that bridge, to whatever that is, to replace himself.
You'd be amazed what you can sell if you show up right away and you do what you said you were going to do.
Yeah.
It's for these foremen that I'll get out there when it runs into one of my jobs that I can also meet that next week sometime. No, how about you be out there that day? Or no one's ever mad because you're there too quickly.
Yeah.
Get out there, talk and shake a hand, but people think that's secondary to the product, the quality of what's getting out there. And it's not true.
I was talking to this weekend. I was talking to a friend of mine, and he manufactures wood components, and he was telling me that one of their customers from I think it's Illinois, it was like, he called, hey, they said, how many more of these things can you produce? And there's a high demand for them. And I didn't have a chance to tell him this, but like what he should do, and basically they're placing a lot of orders for these things, and it happened to be a high margin product. Okay, and so what I want to say is you should drive to Illinois, you should fly to Arkansas, you should go and see the customer. It changes absolutely when you show up and you shake their hand. It absolutely changes absolutely everything, because a relationship is established, and now it's not just a price point thing. And now it's just not now when there is one bad unit shipped or you've one little issue, you know Bob, you know the Sam guy,
100%.
and you shook his
It
hand.
buys you so much.
Shaking his hand and seeing their office, walking through the floor changes everything.
So
we started
you're
tracking.
next here. I just want to, Kyle. I want to ask you. I want you to talk more about this. But yes, I have so many people I've talked to. I mean, trade shows, wherever else I'm at, and the owner, founder, CEO, whoever it is who still wants to get dirty, thinks they always say, I'm just not a sales guy. I'm not a sales guy. You don't need to be a sales guy. I mean, sales is so much, it's 99% relationship. And our dad was not a sales guy. He was not, and yet he was, because he was trustworthy. He was good with relationships and talking, having conversations with people. And all people want is for you to answer your freaking phone and be there day of, the next day, whatever, and show up and say, I'll do what you need, and I'll do it on time. And
as 100%. And as a founder or an owner in a company, you have an unfair advantage.
Yeah.
You're going out on site and you're talking to somebody. They know if they know you're an owner or a founder, they already have trust because you're out here. You're the guy. There's no ulterior motives. It's just you're the guy. Yeah. And so to not use that, to hide behind a wall and not be able to meet customers and that kind of thing as an owner is pretty crazy to me, because you're losing that much of an advantage. 100%. We started tracking this metric a couple years ago, and we wanted to know what percentage of RFQs, requests for quotes, come in that we sell versus not sell on our success rate for in-person visits were had before the quote was sent, or they were not had. So all we did, customers could either come into PWI or we could go visit them. And we tracked that, if we had a 14% success rate on all the RFQs that came in. That includes ones that are maybe even bad, or spamish. So 14% success rate. And when we tracked how many, and that was when we did not shake their hand. So 14% success rate. But when we did shake their hand and they either came to our facility or we went there, it went from 14 to 40%. That's how crazy it is.
3X, baby.
That's how crazy
it's worth
it is.
your time to travel.
You think it isn't worth it, and you think, well, we already had a good conversation. But the guy that shakes up or shows up and slaps some skin is going to get the job.
That's right. Darren, talk a little more about why you love the trades and why you're probably the most passionate of all of us, because you do best locked in your office all day, every day, building and designing new stuff, which is kind of what our dad was into as well. I think Kyle and I are a little more people facing than what you are. You're the happiest when you're locked in your office designing stuff. Why do you like that? Why do you like building and designing stuff, meaning the trades? What makes you passionate about the trade?
Like Kyle said earlier, problem solving, and the challenge of it. So like it's partially just the way my brain is wired. So when I'm driving down the road, I've often told my wife, I said, when I'm driving to let's say you're driving to Florida, you make the bad choice of driving there versus flying, and you're driving down, and I can literally hear my brain rot. I feel like it's shrinking. My brain's shrinking because I feel like I have to figure something out. So usually when I'm driving, I try to like 3D model in my head the whole time, so I can figure. I want to figure.
Twisted.
I want to figure. I can't just sit there and do nothing.
You're so present with your wife and kids when you're on a trip.
I love that.
Yeah, speaking of work-life balance. Wow, we have
exactly. I'm just saying, if you want to stay awake, I like figuring things out. I like designing things, and so that's what it comes down to. I mean, I really enjoy.
You also like meeting customers though as well.
I love meeting customers. I love meeting with customers too. But because I love problem solving in that way. When there's problems, then I'll hand it off to sales. They can deal with issues.
Yes.
But just the fun meetings I like.
Yeah,
it's pretty true.
One thing Darren struggles with, and we argue about this a lot, and I think the whole team has argued about this quite a bit with Darren. Darren loves it so much to a fault that he likes solving. I should say this more clearly. He likes solving problems so much to a fault that he will design a custom one-off for any solution and the price doesn't even matter. Darren just likes the challenge, and our dad was exactly that way, which is probably why we didn't make any money for a decade or two or three, whatever that was when we were getting started, because Dad couldn't say no to a problem. He would love to solve it, and so
impossible jobs just take longer. That was Dad's quote.
That was our father's quote.
Great quote.
Impossible jobs just take longer, and so I think we still do some things like that, but we've had to rein Darren in a bit. Kyle, talk about that.
Well,
You have opportunities coming in every week, every day, leads coming in, RFQs coming in, and some of those Darren never finds out about. Is that fair? Because you know that he couldn't help
There's
himself.
a padlock on Darren's office for a reason, and my sales guys know that they can't go bother Darren unless they have their manager with them.
Yeah.
Because Darren is it's like moth to a flame. If he hears something that's kind of weird or whatever, they know they can just suck them in like that.
Especially throw in some big national brand that it could be for.
Yeah.
No,
it's more about how weird it is.
Okay, how weird it is.
Brand could be a thing, but it's how weird it is. The weirder Darren, it's, hey, we're gonna do, gonna weld a crane underneath, a
swimming pool.
A ship. It's gonna be underneath. It's gonna be pulling whales out of the ocean. Okay, it's like, it has to be in, and we can never do it because what's an underwater crane? But I'll say this here though, that it really is like, when it comes down to building weird custom crap, which we love doing, okay?
Products, but yeah. Go ahead.
I like either way you want to call it. What I'm trying to say is the one thing that I think that Darren and Dad both didn't understand very well was how to charge the correct price for things. And so what we found out in sales here, and we don't have this all figured out. We say that all the time. We are literally learning the whole time. But 100%. One thing that is so important is to charge what is appropriate for that job. Yeah. And some people take this the wrong way, and they say, "Oh, just double that price, just triple that price." That's a bad way of thinking as well. Right. You need to charge what you need to have in it to make a good profit, a decent profit on it. Yeah. And it's got to be reasonable, and you got to be upfront with the customer about that cost before you get all the way into the details of everything. Sure. And if you let's say you're going to quote a project that's going to cost $100,000, okay, and in your head you look at this looks complex. You don't know what the customer's mindset is. Does the customer think this is 20 grand? Does he think it's 200? Well, if you throw something out there like, hey, we're thinking between 80 and 120 for this project before we get all the way into the details, does that scare you? Are you willing to commit to something that's that size? And usually the answer is, yeah, I'm cool with that. Or sometimes it's like, man, we need something way cheaper, a different version of something. Yeah. Being upfront, there is no customer that will hate that you gave them a ballpark before you started, because it feels good. And
one thing I'll say too is that we've experienced this often in our a lot, almost more in years ago. But it's designing things that the customers end up not using, and that is the worst feeling ever. I don't care if you get paid $1 billion for it, But if customer comes to you the problem, they say, hey, man, I really need to lift this, spin this, turn this to. It's a material handling issue, or it's a safety, and so you dive all the way in and you design this super awesome, cool thing, and you build it, and with a few tweaks, it works and it's growing, and then all of a sudden, 6 months later, you walk into that plant. You drive past that plant and you see some yellow painted steel out back. You're like, I spent 2 months on that, and they paid for it, but. What I'm trying to say is that what the fulfillment I get, the satisfaction we get is when we provide solutions to customers and they actually use them and want them, and eventually they want another one, not throw in the weeds.
Sometimes you're surprised they actually are using them.
Oh yeah, it's true. Like
you build something.
Well, I remember back the first fall protection job I sold, into the RV industry I was shocked that to go back in there a month or two later, and the guys were actually all harnessed and tied off to our system that we designed for them. I just feared they were going to put it in there to appease OSHA and never ever use them again. So it is very satisfying when you build a solution for a customer and it works for them pretty flawlessly, and they love it.
And that's why safety is a little harder to sell than mezzanines, storage, VRCs, and cranes, because generally safety is like, I was told I have to buy this. Sure. But generally the products that we're selling to people want and are excited to use. But fall protection is also good. It's not bad at all. And a lot of people want to use them, but it's a little bit of a change of process, that kind of thing for people. It can get, old.
Okay, I'm throwing a bone out to you guys. What makes PBI special? We're talking about our company, our baby that we've been working at for decades. We're trying to grow this thing, trying to build this company. What makes us special? I always kind of say, what I think works so well for us is that we are manufacturers, in the trades. serving other manufacturers in the trades, building. So we're people that are building something, serving people who are building something else. And so when we bring customers in to give a tour, and I always call it the nickel tour, give me a nickel and we'll walk you through for an hour and we'll show you what we're doing over here. And I just want to welcome people to come visit PWI and see what we're doing here, because it's really fun to do that, because we get your problems. We're able to understand our customers' problems, because we have the same problems in hiring staff, same problems in material handling, same problems in storage and space and safety concerns. So, but what makes us special besides that? It's something. What's something that stands out to each of you? 30-second answer on what makes PWI special and separates us from the rest. Darren,
Go ahead. You go first.
Go for it.
they're deferring to each other. I've never seen that before in my life.
Wow, this feels awkward. I don't know. I would say I'm trying to think. What makes us? Your question was what makes us special?
What makes PBI special? In the trades.
Yeah. Well, I would say that. I mean, this is going to sound so unlike me. So this is going to sound really weird, but our people make us special. I'm not like don't hire me for an HR guy. I would make you a very unique one. I guess you could be the same.
Lawsuits would be happy.
Couple lawsuits. But I do think when I'm in a Zoom call with a new client or a potential client or a client is visiting us and us, our team, our sales guys, some of our engineers are around them, and they always say the same thing. This is not bragging on us as owners.
No.
This is like our team. Our team is. They say almost every time they say, it just feels different here.
Yeah.
When they walked in, the air,
Braxton's nodding his head. I love that.
Yeah, the atmosphere, something about it. They just said, and one thing about it is that I like our team is just focused on getting the best solution to the customer, and I know that sounds so typical, and so LinkedIn-ish, I would say, and I hate that.
LinkedIn-ish.
That's a new word.
Well, the truth is, Darren, what you're saying is culture has made an insane difference for us. We've doubled down and invested in good people. Mm-hmm. We want it to feel different, and some of that, it's not always easy. I mean, we were heated this morning before the conversation even started, because there's so much crap going on in the company right now today.
I didn't know that.
Like we're gonna have to leave here and go kill some dragons and slay them,
right?
Because there's some real stuff going on right now that's really tough. So I don't want our listeners to think that we've got it all figured out. But we do. We did figure out culture a bit, and we decided that it is worth hiring A players and keeping them on the team. The guy that's been here with us for a decade, who started as a welder or running a saw, running a CNC plasma table, whatever that is, they're studs, and they're worth having around. And they're almost always, if they want to, being promoted into better and higher positions, which means they're getting paid more. So I want our listeners to understand that there is absolutely a future in the trades. I want them to get that.
It is, but one thing that I want to just throw into you is that this is kind of a little bit back off of our earlier comments, but about the whole if a company, the whole foreman problem.
Yeah.
If a company wants to, you have to decide as a business owner. I have talked to a lot of business owners that I don't really think they want to grow it.
Yeah, for sure.
Actually, I know they don't.
Is that okay?
And that's fine.
Is that right or wrong?
And that's fine. But every time, I'm perfect. It's America. You do what you want. You can do whatever you want, and it's totally fine. I've talked to a lot of business owners hey, they're the foreman out there working on the crew, okay? Mm-hmm. And so that new customer calls their cell phone. The cell phone's probably in the truck, and they might call them back or they might not, because they look at their business as what it can do for them. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so I'm perfectly fine with that thing, but when you drive through the Culver's drive-through
just yesterday,
okay, and you wait and you're frustrated, or it's the Dairy Queen, and you're so frustrated. Why can't they have more staff? Like, no. You're the guy that didn't even call back the one customer that wanted to hire you. Yeah. So you have to be okay with. I mean, if you depend on other business and you wish other businesses would be up to this level, certain level, then you have to either choose to take yours up there or be okay with other people being subpar or not calling you back.
Living in that mindset, you're saying.
Yeah.
Kyle, what were you going to add to that?
To which one?
To just what makes us special?
Oh yeah, I mean it's along the same lines what Darren says. Kind of what I was thinking. I also feel like this can sound very prideful or whatever you want to call it, but the integrity that we operate at, I think is second to none. And now I could be wrong on that. But I have a lot of sales guys that have given me feedback saying that other companies that they've
Just
worked
let's clarify
at.
that.
So I'm getting there.
Can you repeat the integrity core value?
Yeah, go for it.
Number 4 of our 10 core values is integrity. We do the right thing in every case, regardless of the cost. That's what he's referring to, and we live by that.
And so with that, when I made this commitment to every sales guy that starts here, I'll tell them in the training process, in the interview process as well, that I'll never put you in a situation that you feel like you'll have to compromise your values to perform your job. You'll never have that happen here. Yeah. I promise you. Yeah. You'll also you'll also never lie to a customer for me, or you'll never lie to me. Yeah. And it's happened. There's one guy that works here at PWI. He's lied to a customer one time, and I told him if he ever does it again, he's fired for sure. Yeah. And he hasn't again. Well, here's the thing though. Lying, and so we care about our integrity. It's second. It has to matter paramount. The most. It's paramount. And so what I'm saying that I think that customers feel that when they know that they can trust these guys and they're not going to, we're not perfect. We make mistakes 100%.
Oh, gracious, yes.
We're going to feel like we really screwed some guys over here and there. That's going to feel that way sometimes, but the ethical side of it, the moral side of it, we are not going to compromise that. Yeah. We'll do anything we can within reason to take care of the customer, make the customer feel like they've been taken care of, and especially not put our team in a position where they have to kind of, push to the side some of some moral compass. Yeah. We don't do that. So I feel like because we have such a high standard when it comes to that, that the employees love it, and it shows that to the customers too.
It all oozes out,
And like I said, that sounds super cocky. It sounds kind of like, we're just high standard. No, it matters that much. Yeah. We have meetings all the time where we talk about what's the right thing to do here in this situation, and tricky situations come up all the time. And
that core value is tested daily, like literally daily. I haven't read above my computer screen, so I sit at my computer, and I'm at my desk working when I'm there, and I look up above. And it's the core values are right there. And I often look up and go, "Oh shucks, we got to make the right call here."
And if you're in the trades, I'm not trying to rag. Darren ragged on PEs a little bit. I'm gonna rag a little bit on GCs, general contractors. Okay. No. Often we find general contractors are. It's almost like you have to sign this whatever you want to call it, like this decree that you're gonna always deflect blame to whoever else but you. As a general contractor, because it can't be my fault. I'm the GC. All the subs, they made the fault. Well, actually, it can be your fault. It's not always your fault, but it can be your fault. And the classic thing, this is not just pertain to our industry, but all the trades. You have sprinkler guys, you have electricians, you have the erectors, you have the plumbing guys,
concrete guys,
mechanical, concrete, everything. It's hilarious that the GCs are supposed to make this all work together, and they're supposed to coordinate these guys here, make sure there's no obstructions that hit here and there. And when it actually comes down to it, often it's two subs out on site figuring it out together without the GC involved. Yeah. But the GC, maybe the GC didn't communicate the one thing, and they won't. I have like literally lists of examples I can give you, and it's kind of sad because GCs, like, sometimes it is your fault. Own up to it, and the subs will probably bail you out. They'll probably give you half price on fixing that thing. If you just say, "Hey, I messed up here. I'd like to get this fixed somehow.
Some help, right?
I need some help." But it's always, well, you should have sent this thing. You should have done it. Just own it. Just own it. It's okay.
Yeah. Also, exactly. And also they often GCs, they just deflect blame onto whatever sub is below them, and instead of just taking responsibility, but also just getting out of the way. If you can get paid and just stay out of the way and make the process more smooth.
By letting the subs do their job.
Right.
But let's also clarify, we have some really good GCs we like to work with that do a really good job, that have integrity.
We have both.
They don't all. But the point there is have integrity. It's what's made PBI special, is our core values, is our culture. And again, it's a daily thing. There's no cruise control. There's no easy button. Every day you're wrestling. We are wrestling with how to do that and how to live that out well and how to honor God in our business every single day. So again, let's full circle here. You know, I want my doctor to have a college degree. Clearly, right? I want my undertaker when I die to have a college degree and actually know how to deal with that, right? I guess I'm dead, so maybe it doesn't matter.
Not a bad example.
But maybe a bad example. But let's say my doctor, my surgeon, the guy that did the laser surgery in my eyes. I got LASIK surgery done a couple years ago.
Tax accountant.
Our CFO at PBI's
Right.
definitely. So there's things that absolutely matter, but we need to fill the 500,000 gap in the USA today and fill those trade positions ASAP. So if we can encourage, our listeners' kids, what they're doing. Maybe you have a kid that's a freshman in high school right now, or a graduating next year, like my son is, my second son. Think about long and hard what he wants to do, what he's actually passionate about, what he actually loves doing, and don't believe the lie that there's not a great career that can come out of joining the trades. It doesn't have to be for PBI or in the crane and manufacturing industry like we're in, but it absolutely could be somewhere in the trades, and there is a ton of jobs. And I think, I don't know, I've been predicting this for the last couple of years. I think the young men and ladies who are willing to work, willing to get dirty, their salaries will increase at a much higher rate over the next decade as the ones who are getting a degree, and I think it's going the other direction for them. I truly believe that. Braxton, how old are you, man? Braxton's 22. He's our producer here. Braxton's shaking his head back here, and I feel like that's legit. It's the truth. I'm not just saying that to get people on our team. It's literally the shortage is crystal clear, and the people, the studs that come into our industry, to come into the trades, that actually truly want to work, those guys are going to succeed, and we see them every day. We see it every day. I'm so excited about some of the young hires we're making because they're going places.
Well, yeah, and it's true. But one thing I sat down, and this is so I've turned 40, and I acknowledge that I am now old. I guess I'm in the old category. So, but I sat down for lunch the other day, and I sat down at a Ram table at lunch. In our the bistro there, and we were talking. And I sat down to talk to this. I didn't know this guy. He works at PBI.
To clarify, this is at PBI. We have our own cafeteria bistro there. Darren sit down to eat lunch.
Yeah. So I sat down. I just sat down at a Ram table with one of the guys from the shop and from the fabrication P1, I think it was. I don't know. I didn't know the guy, and so I sat down. I said, "Hey," I said, "How?" I tried to like initiate a conversation, like, "Hey, like, how's it going?" And you look around, every single person's on their phone. And he sat there. He said, "Hey, yep, that's it." Boom. And I'm like, you are missing the
relationship, right?
Oh my word! If you would think about it, what you would do is ask me how my day is going. I would ask. This is called a conversation. We'll go back and forth. Okay, and then we would learn more about each other. And by the way, the next time I'm in an executive meeting, I'm saying, I talked to Bob out there. Bob, he loves welding. Whatever. All of a sudden, the way people promoted, the way people are is by getting to know them, and you can't get to know somebody if you're staring at a phone.
Yeah, agreed.
People think that, and that's another side note, Darren. But promotions is so important because we talked about it earlier. With, hey, if you don't want to maybe do this job for the rest of your life, but you could do it for 5 to 10 years and maybe get promoted into something else. Yeah. The thing that people misunderstand about promotions, I think, generally speaking, is they think that they're gonna earn their way, or they're going to impress their way in certain like I'm gonna get this accolade, I'm gonna get this knowledge, I'm gonna know this. Well, in reality, is you also have to be likable. You have to be likable. People have to want to be with you and want to work with you. You have to show that first. You have to also do well at your job currently. Yeah. People think, well, if I show how good of a leader I could be, then I'll be a leader. No. You have to kill it at your job now, because there's no way you're going to kill it at being a leader if you can't kill it at your job now. That's right. Do that. Be likable. Get along with people. Get along with your boss well. Get along with the people you work around with well. You're not going to be their boss and then know how to get along with them.
The people that are out in production or on job. Like when I can drive through on a golf cart and just drive past areas in production stuff, and no matter what it is, and you just know who's busy doing their job. And there's some people
who are acting busy.
who are acting. Hey, wow, whew,
They're great at waving their
hey,
hands.
It's like, hey, I'm wrenching over here. Yeah, I'm working. I'm like, and the other guy is just
his head's down, right?
Yeah, and so it's you can't really fake it, and you can't just fake it to make it.
Yeah, I always tell our team,
that guy.
and we meet every month with the entire team. Another culture piece that we do. Always tell people what's up and where we're heading. Every employee knows exactly where we're going as a company, what we're doing, jobs that are being sold, the hiring, all that. There, we're going through all that stuff every month. But I always tell them, do not think for a moment that you won't be seen. You will be seen.
Exactly.
And like I think people think when their heads are down, and you know, we got a classic example of an ex-employee that was really good at waving his hands. Right, he was really good at every time the boss comes around. He was always guiding a truck in. He was always directing like a symphony. He was an orchestrator somehow. Never actually did anything. But that was it frustrated all of us. We all saw the fakeness at which he was producing, air quotes there. So anyhow, I want to wrap this up here, but we love the trades. We love what we get to do every day is serving our customers that are also in the trades, right? And I want to tell any young people out there, any dads of young people out there, fathers that are out there trying to figure out what to do for their kids, consider having your son, your daughter join the trades, get their hands dirty, because that's what we love to do every day.
That's right.
Thank you.